I said,
Um,
I
Is
will
someone
be.
else
I
signed
usually
on
sign
your
in.
phone or computer? I see a second Melissa Ricos.
that's a
Ooh,
good question. I am not purposefully signed onto.
it's AI. It's AI.
Do you see
Taking
what I
over.
see?
Yeah, I see it. I assumed it was maybe you trying to get another screen or something. Well, we'll see. I can
Sometimes if
remove
you're
people
using
if needed.
sometimes if you're using the screen on your laptop, but you dial in on your cell phone, it shows up twice, I think.
Mystery.
To the chair, this is HCAM. We are live and recording.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let me just check real quick, see who's here. Jim, Ted, Ed, and myself, and myself.
It's 4.
We'll count that as 4. All right. Why don't we go ahead and if you don't mind reading the opening the meeting with the script, Ted, get that out of the way.
I don't mind at all. Let's go. This is the June 9th, 2026 open meeting of the Hopkinton Conservation Commission being conducted remotely, consistent with an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during this state of emergency. The new law authorizes all members of a public body to continue participating in meetings remotely. The open meeting law's requirement that a quorum of the body and the chair be physically present at the meeting location remains suspended. For this meeting, the Hopkinton Conservation Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the town's web meeting calendar and the Conservation Commission agenda identifying how the public may join. Additionally, the meeting may also be broadcast by HCAM through one or many of its channels or platforms. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Please also keep yourself on mute unless and until called on by the chair. Supporting materials that have been provided to members of the commission for this meeting are available on the town's website. This meeting will feature public comment. After commission members and staff have discussed each project application on the agenda, the chair will open the discussion to public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak are asked to identify their name and address. 3 minutes will be afforded for each public comment. Each vote taken in the meeting will be conducted via roll call of the members. I will now confirm which commission members are present. Chair Melissa Ricos.
Present.
Ed Harrow. Ed. We'll give Ed another try in a moment. He's on mute. Jim Cirillo.
Present.
Walter Garland. Peggy Shaw. Matt Moyen. Ed Harrow.
Okay, I've managed to unmute, but it's like flashing and going crazy. Does it flash?
That is a Fillmore East kind of spectacle going on there.
Okay, so I could log out and come back or leave it.
I don't know. You make the call. And I am Ted Barker. I am present. I will now confirm that staff are present. Judy Day, the Hopkinton Conservation Administrator.
Present.
Anna Rogers, the Environmental and Inspectional Services Coordinator.
Present.
And Joe Orzel of Lucas Environmental.
Present.
We have one continued hearing tonight I want to let everyone know about. The 15 Montana Road hearing with the Kelly family has been continued to June 30th, 2026. Back to you, Melissa.
All right. Thanks, Ted.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So since it's just 7 o'clock, We're gonna do as we usually do and start with a couple work session items. We'll go down the list here in order. I am gonna skip the draft minutes review since there's at least 3 members not present at the moment. And we'll jump right into the informal violation discussion. Fowler and Lang 5 Deneen Road vegetation clearing. I'll start off and I'll just ask Judy if you can give us a summary of how we got to where we are tonight.
Sure, through the chair. So I have some pictures I can bring up as well, but just as an overview, conservation staff, myself and Anna responded to several resident complaints and observed evidence of recent tree clearing that had occurred along Lake Maspinock at 5 Deneen Road on May 21st, 2026. We issued a cease and desist that day for unpermitted vegetation removal in the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. And due to the homeowner's history with violations in the past and prior knowledge of the regulations, we did issue citations for the roughly 40 or so cut stumps that we were able to observe from the public path that exists on the property. So we counted stumps that looked to be about 1.5 inches or greater, but there was quite a bit of understory cut as well as some pruning of the trees that were not fully removed. So with about 50 or so significant tree stumps, we issued 1 ticket per stump, with the fine amount for each ticket being $300. So total, that is $12,000 was issued in fines. So I'm happy to bring up the pictures, answer questions that the commission may have, but yeah, we're looking for commission members to discuss the nature of the violation, whether you would like to uphold all or a portion of the issued fines, and any required next steps you may want to enforce for the property. So I'll bring up some pictures. So this is the view from Sandy Beach across the lake. And these are all in the public file for folks to access. And then I just have several pictures of the stumps that we saw. So I'll turn it back over to you, Melissa.
Okay. Thanks, Judy. Yeah, the pictures are helpful to give folks an idea the scope here. All right, I believe we do have the homeowners on the call here. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, hi. I'm Lee. This is my husband, Larry. And
Eamon Koreska.
Nice to meet you.
The gentleman is the guy who did the work. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right, so do you, I know there was a lot of correspondence back and forth, and there are emails in the file. I've been reading up on them and discussing with Judy. So I guess I just wanted to ask you, it seems you understand why the fines were issued to you for the trees that were cut and the violation that we brought before you.
Yes, we first apologize for not reporting to the town before we start work. I thought I did go into town, talk to them, and I know we should talk to the people before we cut, and I planned to do it, and I discussed with the guys. But then we got sidetracked into the technical, about the vehicles getting into here, how to do things, and then we forgot. We just start doing and end up not discussing, and it's our fault, and we admit that, and it's very just a very sorry about that. But regarding the previous, I don't recall we previously have any violation. We have been on this piece of property for 27 years and owned this piece of property for 27 years and actually lived on it for 20 years. The house originally was proposed about 100 feet from the water. And because we come from Northwest, we love trees. And so we said we want to protect the environment. We moved the house back to 360 feet line. And in 20 years we live here, we really didn't cut the woods. As a result, this on the picture now you can see there's a clearing. Before we cut, it was completely on the same thing as on both sides. Okay, from our house we cannot see the water at all. And should we initially build a house closer to the water, we would be. So that's unfortunate. We decided to protect wetland and leave more trees, but as a result, we can't see it. This is for 27 years, and the trees completely block the view. We cannot see. So I think it was 24. We went into town. We talked to Judy, and then they said if we want to remove the trees, we should go in to talk to them. But it turned out I meant to talk to them, but then get sidetracked, did not. The reason we started to do this was there are some big trees. I can show pictures as well. They're falling down. Ever since I talked to Judy, I think there are at least 8 trees fell down. They're big ones. And one of them almost hit my car as I just passed. And this last, just before Christmas, 2 trees fall down. And this, I think was March, 3 or 4 more fall down. We're not here. The policeman called my daughter in New York and told her to clean up. So there continue those trees falling down, and 4 of them are very close to the house. They're leaning towards the house, so kind of threatening. So at this point, we said, okay, let's remove those trees. Should those trees fall down, they would damage the house. I can show you the tree stumps on those trees. They're completely hollow in the middle. And they're half dead already. They're dangerous. And then besides those big trees, I think the picture earlier we saw that one tree stump is not hollow, but I can show you the 4 trees close. This one is close to the walkway, close to the trail. Okay. This close to the trail, and in case it fall, it would be not only hurt our house, but hurt people walking on the trail. Mm-hmm. And and so I can show you the tree stumps close to our house. Those
that's okay.
Also, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'll just go through. I guess there's a few different pieces here that we can address in parts. So typically, and Judy probably explained this to you, but just for everyone's benefit, the commission frequently has people come in and ask, or just call Judy or Anna to request for trees that they feel threatened by to come down, and we do have a process for that. And it's not, it's very easy. If it's Judy can go out and identify that it's a dead hazard tree, she can issue right there on site permission to take down trees. If that's the case, without you even having to come into the commission. So I just want to make sure for you and everyone else on the call that that's understood. We like to work with people for those situations. But I think what we're really here for tonight is the violation up toward the lake and what the commission, and as you know, living on the lake for many years, you have a preservation group. We've been working on lake weeds. We've been trying to encourage buffer along the lake, and even people who do have homes closer to the lake to try and reestablish these buffers. And as you said, it's taken 27 years plus to really grow that nice vegetated buffer along the lake right there. And, you know, to take that down without any discussion with the commission is, it wipes out so much old, you know, growth and establishment that's been in place. So that's what's, I think, frustrating for the commission to see when that happens. And that's why the finding process kind of proceeded as it did. So as far as the $12,000 in fines, I think that number of 40 trees is probably conservative, being that Judy and Anna were, you know, counting from off property, not doing a complete survey. So, number one, I think the commission just needs to discuss whether we go ahead and proceed with following through and issuing these fines. And then number two is whenever we have these situations with violations, we work with applicants to come up with a restoration plan and a mitigation plan to try and, you know, mitigate what's gone on. And that's separate from the violation fees. And in that process, typically what we have people do is do a survey of the stumps and identify the stumps, the size of the trees that came down, and through that effort that we can also identify dead and diseased trees based on the stumps. Like you're saying, you know, if they get cut down, obviously, if it's a hollow tree, it's probably something that Judy would have approved, and the commission can consider that when we look at it and think about mitigation for what's happened. And maybe you don't need to, you know, replace that tree. 1 for, or 2 for 1, or, you know, whatever we decide upon. That's kind of our standard practice for dealing with violations. I'm gonna just
comment.
Yes, you can comment.
When we built this house, we cut down an awful lot of trees to get to space to build it. And in the process, we replanted over 100 trees to replace what we took down.
And our house was much close to the edge of the water. We voluntarily backed up to 360 feet so we can leave more wetland. And as the result, 27 years, we never touch a thing. It's overgrown, and we cannot see the lake at all. That's why we clean, besides the dead tree, we clean it up with some lower bush so we can have a glimpse of the water. And we love the trees. Don't get us wrong. We love the trees. We want to protect it probably more than anybody else. And another thing is there's a public trail going through our property. That's all the way along our property, probably over 2,000 some feet. And earlier you said it took 27 years to grow those trees. That's not true. When we moved in, that entire tree was not, is completely covered. There was no trail. You can hardly see that trail. In this 20 years, we let the public use that trail for, use the lake for free. Today, there's a big trail. The damage on the trail all the way along the water is probably 100 times more than this 50, 40, whatever the trees we remove. It's a wide trail right now. You know, snowmobiles and people running through docks, it's just a big park right now. We did our very, very best. Like Larry said, when we built the house, we backed up the house into the trees, and in our front yard and the backyard, we, in knees and hands, we planted over 100 trees.
Mhm.
And we want to preserve these trees more than anyone else, to be honest. And the public damage to the lake, there's just damage, and there's no protection. Over these 20 years we live here, the waterfront was well protected, but today it's a big trail, and it was like a backyard park.
It even has a bench somewhere, I've been told.
Well, there's a lot of development. It's not us. We just clean up our little backyard. We can see a little bit of water. That's all we did, really.
No, we certainly appreciate the the vegetated buffer, the vegetation that's been maintained in the forest that's been maintained in the conservation effort for sure, provided by your property. I don't want to minimize that at all. I'm not familiar with the trail. That is, in my eyes, a separate issue that can come before the commission. I don't see that tied to this particular violation. But I think at this point in time, I want to open it up to other commission members to give them a chance to speak or ask questions other than just myself. So I'm going to open it up to the commission.
Melissa, this is Ted.
Yes, Ted.
I agree with you that right now we're looking at two different pieces of this. One is to talk about the tickets that were issued, and the other is what are next steps. On the next steps, you mentioned that it's our regular practice to ask for a mapping of the trees that have been removed, a count of the trees. I don't think I heard you mention, though, I think it would be necessary for us to get a wetlands delineation and a buffer delineation. After all, if there are trees removed that are not within our jurisdiction, that's, I think, not a matter for us to discuss. So we would need to know how many trees are within our jurisdiction, I believe. So I think that the homeowner would have to look into getting a wetlands delineation as well to help us out.
I agree with that, Ted. I think if we can just ask Judy for a moment, as far as the number of trees for the tickets, you were able to base those on 100 feet from the waterfront?
Yeah,
Is that
through
a
the
fair
chair.
statement?
So it was the trees that looked to be within 100 feet of the water, roughly in this location, of an inch and a half diameter or greater. And then we also, since the path crosses close to a wetland crossing, a stream crossing that goes under the driveway, we also included a couple stumps that we saw that would have been jurisdictional for either the stream or buffer zone to this stream as well.
So I think to answer your question, Ted, yes, in addition to surveying the stumps, we'd want the delineation, and then we'd want the stumps within our jurisdiction. We're not looking to regulate or, prohibit or anything outside of our specific jurisdiction and what we are supposed to be protecting under the Wetland Protection Act and the bylaw. But I think the 40 that were counted for the fine are very we are sure that these are within our jurisdiction. There's probably
I don't doubt the work that Judy and Anna did, and I figured you and I, Melissa, were on the same page with that. I just kind of wanted to make sure we included that wetland delineation as part of the discussion for the public record and for the homeowner.
To see that what they're talking about, the stumps and the clearing, they had to wander down the trail to get past it because it's right down the trail. So they were right next to it.
right next to the trees that they were counting.
Yes.
Right. Agreed.
I just hope the committee take into consideration that, yes, we are fault. We did not talk to you guys before we cut. But we cleaned just our backyard so we can see the water. Before, we cannot see the water. And this is volunteer. We could have seen the water if we built a house right on the water. And we voluntarily backed up 300 feet. As a result, we can't, in 20 years, the full grown vegetation blocked our view completely. We kind of just directly clean directly in front of our house so we can have a glimpse of the water. That's all we did, really. And along the trail, the damage was so much. I don't know who is going to pay those, to be honest. It's like a quarter miles of away. And
Close to almost half a mile.
yeah, it's just all those trees. I mean,
Yeah, like I said, we can look
planned back.
we can look into the trail as a separate matter because sounds like that's beyond your property as well. But going back in time, 27 years when the house was built, that was before a lot of the regulations and things that we're charged with upholding now were in place. So at this point in time, the commission has a charge to protect the resource areas, including the 100-foot buffer from them. So that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're responsible for. And we treat, all homeowners on the lake at this point in time that come in front of us or look to do work on their property within that 100-foot buffer of the lake or a wetland resource area the same. So whether it's cutting down trees for views or to put in a shed or to do whatever they want to do, it still needs to be a conversation, a permitting process. That's what we're here for as the commission. So at this point in time, I will open it up. If we don't have anyone else on the commission that has questions or comments, I will open it up.
Chair.
Oh, yes, Ed, you got one?
I have two questions.
Sure.
There's going to be some expense involved in a restoration, and I'm wondering if we can wrap the restoration cost and the fine together so
You
that,
cannot.
pardon?
You can't.
Okay, that's answer number one.
Yeah.
And that's question number two. Someone was hired to do this work. It seems to me that the party that's hired to do this work has a responsibility for knowing the rules, and it would seem like the person who was hired to do the work who did not follow the rules should bear some responsibility.
Mm-hmm. I believe you said you have the gentleman with you who did the tree work. What company are you with?
Yeah, I do by myself. I don't have company.
Okay.
I'm trying here to help this lady. She's my friend. So I cut the small tree, not the big tree. And I just wanted to give her the good view to the water. That's it. So what I can do now, I can buy 2 dozen tree and yeah, plain. It's like small one to grow up again. That's what I can do.
Okay. No, I appreciate you coming to the meeting, and hopefully you get a good understanding of what we're looking for. And that is part of the mitigation plan that we look for, is replacing trees. Usually Judy has some guidelines for what we typically look for in a restoration plan. We look for native plantings, native trees, species. Also replacing, usually we look for 2 to 1. We do entertain planting shrubs instead of just trees or in addition to just trees, so that, you're really recreating the habitat and that underbrush and that was kind of lost. So certainly in the next steps, if you can help the homeowner with that, I'm sure that would be beneficial.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ted.
As the commission's official timekeeper, I just want to let you know we're almost 25 minutes into this particular hearing.
Okay, thank you, Ted. Yeah, I'm gonna open it up quickly for any comments from the public, and then we will wrap up and move along.
Yes, so this is Jeff Hirsch on Lakeshore Drive. Am I allowed to make a comment?
Yes.
So the one thing I'm confused about, the statement was made that the house is 350 feet from the water. So it's not clear to me at all how cutting down trees right on the water prevents them from falling on the house. So I don't understand that. It doesn't really make sense. However, there were multiple comments that they did this to obtain a view. And they are well aware that when they bought the property and when they decided to live on it, that unfortunately, because they were not grandfathered in, that was not an issue. That was not something that they could do. The main thing I think that needs to be addressed, and you touched on it, is that there needs to be a mandatory site restoration to bring this back to the condition it was. And I believe you're even allowed to say that that should include planting multiple mature trees to replace the trees that were brought down. And I strongly agree about the bushes as well. Should they hire an arborist to guide them how to do that in the most appropriate fashion?
Yes, we request that the plans be prepared. Tell me if I'm saying anything out of line, Judy, but typically we require that the plans are prepared by a professional, whether landscape architect, engineer, service, and they are reviewed through the commission, through our third-party consultant. And then we need to approve the plan before we come to an agreement and accept that as mitigation.
Melissa.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm their daughter. I'm sometimes in New York, but sometimes in Hopkinton. I kind of just wanted to speak to the one thing that he said. The trees that were about to fall in the house, the ones that did fall in the driveway, was kind of like the original premise for it. And then some of them that there were some along the trail as well that we felt were there. But then the view thing, it kind of all just sort of like became one project at the same time because we were doing the one. It wasn't really like intended to like necessarily be two things. It was just like because we had him coming to already do the other trees, then it kind of became, we were like, well, let's have a little bit of the view as well in the same thing.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. Ted, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in the interest of efficiency, I think that we can't really talk about restoration and mitigation until we get those plans. So certainly I'm open to public comment, but I wouldn't want to go too far down that road until we have more information.
Yep.
Tonight.
I agree. So to keep us focused on the fine, I will just ask commission members. I think I'll just open it up to a vote or ask for a vote on whether we go ahead and issue the fines for $12,000 for the 40 trees.
Through the chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed?
Can we hold the fines in abeyance until we see their plans for restoration?
No, with the ticketing system, as I understand it, there's 21 days to pay the fine. And within that 21 days, we can withdraw them or let them sit. Right now, they're in effect.
Quick question. Is it possible to just like not have the full amount of the fine? It's like a huge fine. Is it possible to like have it just be like maybe less than that? Or do you have to vote on just
it is Yeah, no, that's a good question. Thank you for
Thank
asking
you.
it. We can discuss reducing, if we're gonna reduce it, then we should reduce it by number of trees because that they were issued as individual tickets per tree. So it's easier from an accounting and for the court documentation paperwork to reduce it by number of trees. So I will open that up to commission members for consideration.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ted.
You touched on right at the beginning of this hearing how much we have been working to try to protect Lake Maspinock and that we've been working in conjunction with the LMPA. And I think we've, in recent years, begun to make some good progress. I don't know where I land on how many of the tickets to enforce, but I will say that this is tremendously frustrating to me, this decision. And my understanding is there were communications with Anna and Judy at Town Hall, and it was made very clear to the homeowners what they needed to do to get permission to remove trees, and whether they just forgot or got excited because here was a guy willing to cut down trees. Frankly, to me, that's immaterial. It was made very clear what the rules are in town, what the wetlands regulations are. I would imagine that the LMPA is similarly frustrated and probably looking to us to hold the line.
Thanks, Ted. I share that sentiment.
Melissa, it's Jim. Can you
Yes,
just
Jim.
redo or have Judy, can you have you or Judy redo the math or just summarize the math for me? I can't get into the docs.
So the math is there were 40 trees or 40 stumps that were estimated at 1.5 inches or larger that were counted. And it's $300 per tree for the violation. So $300 times 40 is how we got to 12,000.
What were some other sizes besides the 1.5 inches? There were 40 that were greater than 1.5 inches. Do we know of that? How many were saplings and how many were mature trees? Just offhand, I looked at the photo. I didn't count them up, to be fair.
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes.
We didn't break them down like that, Jim, but it ranged probably from 1.5 inches to maybe 12 inches, the largest. I mean, most of them were smaller, but there were quite a few larger stumps that we observed.
12 inches.
Can I show some picture also?
I think we're just gonna go with Judy's pictures and what we have in the file because I don't have a way to identify where the trees are coming from, our jurisdiction versus outside of jurisdiction other than Judy's photos. And I'll just remind the commission, these are focused on trees that we definitively know are within the 100-foot buffer to the lake or the resource area. So this is probably a conservative count. It is a conservative count on trees. If we actually went out and surveyed them, there's likely more.
And the reason we need to assess the fines or not assess them tonight as opposed to holding them is because we have 30 days to act under that ticket system.
Right. When we used to hold an abeyance, it was before we had the ticketing system. When we had to move to a ticketing system, then we're locked into a 21-day. You issue the ticket, and then the violator has 21 days to pay that ticket. And we can go to the court and say, we'll withdraw 40, we'll withdraw 30, whatever we want to do within that 21-day window. But once the 20 days has passed, then they're, in violation of paying them. So.
And the clock started ticking on May 21?
May 28th.
Tonight. Yeah, it was, right? So
May 28th was when we issued the tickets. So the 21 days started on May 28th. So, however, if the commission chooses to uphold any or all of the tickets, then they would need to be paid by June 18th.
Through the chair, this is Ed. We will have a meeting then before that time period expires.
No.
No, we won't.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question. What was that?
Ed was asking if we're going to have another meeting before the tickets are required to be paid. And the answer was no. Our next meeting is June 30th.
Boy.
We can close the hearing, or we can actually, this is a work session. I believe we can move on and we can come back at the end of the meeting to make this vote if the commission members want to. But I mean, that's not a lot of time to think about it either. So
Maybe we can verify those 40 trees because I have not count. I have not go down to count how many trees there are.
Through the chair.
yes, Judy.
I'm not sure if it would be possible to get an accurate wetland delineation and a stump survey within that time frame, and the commission isn't meeting again before the payment would be due. So, I mean, I might suggest trying to make that decision on how many of the tickets you're upholding tonight based on what we have.
Yeah, I think you're right, Judy. And if if Mr. Fowler and Ms. Lang want to contest those tickets through the court, they could do that.
The chair.
Yes, Ted.
This is a large fine. I'm aware of that. This is an extraordinary violation that we're looking at as well, of a resource that we have put a lot of work and attention and time into. I'm aware that this is a very large fine. I'm aware that this is an extraordinary violation, and I am comfortable with the count that Anna and Judy did, that it's a conservative count, and I am comfortable with assessing all 40 tickets.
Okay.
Well, I personally have a problem with that. The fine is large, okay? I'm not saying we're not at fault. I admit we did not discuss with the town. That's our fault. And we should be, take the responsibility, replant the trees and pay part of the fine. However, I think the fine is quite extensive. Especially taking consideration there's severe damage on our property by the trail.
Okay, I think at this point in time, I'm gonna have to stop because we're not talking about the trail. I'm gonna go ahead in the essence of time. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put it a vote to the commission members on whether we I guess we'll word it as the fines have been issued. So does someone want to make a motion on proceeding with issuing the fines?
I will make a motion that we assess the fines on the 40 tickets.
And I will second the motion. This is Ed.
All right. I do a roll call. All in favor? Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Matt?
I'm going to abstain because I missed the beginning of the discussion.
Okay. And I do not see Walter. I think it's just me then, and I am an aye. All right, so those will remain in place. So I think that's what we needed to cover for tonight.
Through the chair,
Yes, Judy?
did you want to consider a vote on an enforcement order regarding the stump survey and wetland delineation that Ted had mentioned?
Yes. Yes, we should vote on that too. So let's go ahead and have Judy write up an enforcement order. As you said, we're including wetland delineation, tree survey for stumps 1.5 inches in diameter and larger within our jurisdiction. And a restoration plan to be provided and completed by a professional landscape architect or biologist, or is there a particular wording we use, Judy?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to wait on the restoration plan until you have the stump survey and the wetland delineation. So you can always issue a new enforcement order at that point when you have a better sense of the scale of what you would like to see in terms of the restoration. If you want to hold off on requiring, a planting plan right now until you know exactly what was cut.
Okay, that makes sense. We can agree on the delineation and the stumps first. Okay. Can I get a motion to issue an enforcement order drafted by Judy, signatures by Judy or Anna to that effect?
Ted will make that motion.
Can I get a second?
This is Ed. I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt, are you going to abstain or do you want to vote?
Yeah, I'll abstain again just for consistency.
Okay. And I am also an aye. Okay. Judy, am I forgetting anything else?
Nope, I think you're all set.
Okay. Mr. Fowler, Mrs. Lang, thank you for joining us tonight. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or need more information, don't hesitate to reach out to Judy.
Okay, I am not very clear what's the action steps next.
I'll follow up in an email after tomorrow morning. I will send you an email.
I am not going to.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so is that it for this then?
Yeah, you're all set. Yep.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, next up, we're gonna jump up to new hearings. So, Ted, would you like to read this to open it up?
I would be happy to. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by Lynette Nealon to construct a single-family house with associated site work. Location 1 Hickory Way, Assessor's Map R25, Block 35, Lot B.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Judy, I know this one has a little bit of a history to it, even though it's a new hearing. Do you want to just give a quick preview and then we can open it up to the applicant?
Sure, through the chair. So this is a notice of intent for the construction of a new single-family house at 1 Hickory Way. This is a new one-lot subdivision being built sort of behind or next to the existing house at 30 North Mill Street. A little bit of the backstory behind this one. There was an order of conditions issued under file number 1431. It's linked in the public file to build this house with a wetland crossing in the front. They built the crossing, and a few other tasks were completed, which the applicant has provided a list of, but never built the house or the barn in the back, the septic, and they did not complete the wetland replication required in putting in the crossing. So this permit is now expired, but a certificate of compliance was not issued. So that's a question for the commission. DEP doesn't generally recommend issuing 2 orders of conditions for one property. So I think the applicants have, questions about the process in terms of the new notice of intent, what you want to see with the old permit, and then how they should go about completing the wetland replication that was required initially, but was never done. So I think that's it for me.
Okay, thanks, Judy. And who do we have on the call representing the applicant or the applicant?
So this is Lynette Nealon. I'm here, and Chuck Joseph and Joe Macredon are here as well.
Excellent, welcome.
Thank you. So I guess just in line with the history, I'll add a couple things and then I'll turn it over to Chuck and Joe, if that makes sense, or does that feel like the right order?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So I don't know how much of the history is, I think Judy captured it. There is obviously a kind of a long history on this. I've been at this property since 2008 at North Mill. The plan was that we bought this property and we were pursuing building a family home at what is now One Hickory Way. And I believe that we, in the 2009 to 2011 timeframe, got pretty far in the process of having the subdivision approved and most of the work approved for building. So, at the time, as Judy mentioned, we completed a lot of the key requirements that were noted, swales near the road. We had hay bales put through the extent of the entire property in preparation for building. We put in a culvert for the stream crossing. We had a stone wall built, a paved apron at the end of the driveway, and a utility pole put in. Unfortunately, a significant family issue halted our plans and kept me for many years from moving ahead. So it has taken, now that it's 2026, to state the obvious, it has taken a while to get back to moving ahead, get back to kind of moving ahead with this. And I've been working with Chuck and Joe, who have been extremely helpful in terms of informing me of kind of where we are. It's my understanding that the swales, the way that I have maintained them has not been appropriate. It was kind of falsely, I think, on me, that it was my understanding that we did the swales and kind of let vegetation come in and kind of take over, which I thought was appropriate. But I now understand that that's not really what the request was. So at this point, really what we're coming to this group to ask is to what we need to, what we can do to move this forward. For me personally, this is an extremely meaningful transaction to be able to move forward. And so with Chuck and Joe's assistance, really just looking to work with this group and the other boards in town to understand what it will take to move this forward in a way that works for the town, but also takes into account all the work that's already been done on the property.
Okay. Thank you for that summary. Joe?
Just the other thing I'll just note, I actually am a resident at 30 North Mill, so I will continue to be a resident at 30 North Mill. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Chuck, Joe, do you have anything you want to add, or?
Just as we dove into the research on all of this because it has been quite a while. We spent a lot of time in the planning board files, and the planning board considers this project substantially complete, that it is still viable, and recently they took bond money surety for the completion of the project and released a lot. So I didn't want anybody to get the impression that this thing was starting at square one. An awful lot of meaty items have been completed, and we're quite frankly, with the construction, we're closer to the end than we are to the beginning. It's just that some of these items are in sensitive areas. Some of these items will put a lot of the site, like paving the driveway, for instance, from North Mill to the future home. That's 600-700 feet of asphalt paving, roughening up the surface and paving that. So there are some things that will disturb a large portion of what's there now inside buffer zones. And then we've got some stuff at the in the stormwater mitigation area down at North Mill, where Hickory meets North Mill. We've got some stuff that has to take place within sensitive areas. So it's a I don't want to say sprawling, but it covers a lot of ground, the permits. But a lot of what has taken place was part of a program worked out between the commission with its roster back then and the planning board with its roster. That's all I offer, is that there are quite a few things that have taken place.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. All right, so
Melissa, could I jump in
Yes.
for 1 second here? I'm sorry. Joe and Judy and Anna have been very patient explaining things to me. I've done a lot of work in the town, but this is a kind of a unique one. It's a unique process from where we are. And I think the confusing part for me, and they've been very patient, is that there is an existing order of conditions that has expired and has not been closed. And from what I understand from Judy, there's a reluctance to open a new order of conditions because they don't like to have two orders of conditions open on the same property. But what I'm concerned about is we're fully prepared to go forward with whatever the commission decides. What I'm confused about is if we went in, for instance, now at the front detention areas and planted the wetland species as specified in the 2009 order, and then the commission found it appropriate to close out that first order of conditions, but then we opened up a second order of conditions, and it was found that that work, the new work, which we just finished under the old order, was not adequate to today's standards. We're all spinning our wheels here. So I'm just looking for a clear way forward for Lynn, so that we say to the commission, we're here to work with you. We've put in our $5,000 for the consultant. We're ready to start getting done what has to happen today. But we need one clear set of directions in order to perform the work appropriately as the commission would like to see it. And I think that's really our hope, is that we can get to some clarity as to how we're to proceed.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, definitely unique, but I think there are threads of similarities between some other things that we've done in the past. So I think we could draw on a few things. And yes, DEP does not like it when we have two open orders. That's definitely true. When I look at it, I am thinking that closing out the existing order based on, since so much work has been done and you're so close to where you need to be with the roadway based on, the conversations here. It seems like closing out the order and then issuing an enforcement, which sounds negative, but, can be a positive way to move things forward, maybe issue an enforcement to finish any restoration work. That still needs to be done, because when you do plantings, you need to have like a review period of a couple years to make sure they survive and all these good things, so that wouldn't tie you to that for the order conditions. to close it out. And then that would enable you to, I think, proceed with the new notice of intent for any work moving forward. Judy, does that make sense? Did I say that in a way that meaningful way?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think what I would recommend is if the commission is amenable to it, I think the applicant should apply for the COC ASAP. Get Joe out there and he could probably give a better picture of what still needs to be done in terms of the restoration and the replication. And then if the commission so chooses, you can issue a COC with, being very clear what work was not done, and then a separate enforcement order to require that work be done. If you'd like to allow the applicant to be able to move forward with the new notice of intent, you can split it up that way.
Does that make sense, Chuck, to what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to follow. So be patient with me, all right? But what I understand is we apply for COC, you issue an enforcement order for the work not completed, correct? At that time, without doing that work, we can apply for a new order of conditions.
Correct.
And then there will be one significant order of conditions which will include the enforcement order for the planting of the previous order of conditions required.
I think there'll still be two separate documents. The enforcement order is just to wrap up the work.
Okay.
On the side.
But that would not have to be completed immediately. It would be part of the project.
That's up to the commission. Yeah. So that's one option you all could take.
That's what I'm trying to get clarity on.
Or you could choose to want them to be done sequentially. So, plant the plantings, monitor them, and then come for the COC. So it's up to the board which process you're comfortable with.
And I think that kind of depends on if Joe goes out there, depends on what he sees.
Mm-hmm. For the chair?
Yes.
As we focus on that area up at North Mill by the stormwater, there's also a breakdown in the construction of that treatment swale. The forebay is still intact, but the berm at the outer edge of the treatment swale has deteriorated and does not function, does not hold water. I assume the intent was to allow that to become a wet swale. That's what was the design initiative with the planning board. So as we shape what activities are going to happen in that location, I feel it should include finishing that treatment swale, especially that berm on the downhill side, so that one, it will function, and two, it can become that wet swale. So it's the plantings and the work associated with that, but there's also an element of the stormwater that has to be completed as well. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because that's part of the roadway that's built. Yep. Does anyone else on the commission have thoughts or opinions on this?
Through the chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed.
I think the idea of having them run concurrently makes sense. If that's if my interpretation and words are correct.
Mm-hmm. Anyone from the public? Any other comments?
Hi, Keith Pomeroy from 4 Cold Spring Brook Road. I'm in a butter.
Yes.
This is the first time I've seen this plan, so that's fine. Is this a single family home project? It's not a build one and then another one can be built further on?
Through the chair?
Yes, Joe.
This was a traditional grid subdivision approved by the planning board. One single-family building lot was created. The remaining acreage was set aside as open space. So there is one 3.2 acre building lot, 2A, and then there are 7.2 acres of open space, and that's the entirety of the project.
So there's room for a second building on this property? Is that correct? A barn?
We have proposed a single-family home and a barn, which resembles the original filing from 2009.
Okay, and as I'm looking at this separate question, as I'm looking at this plan, it shows an existing well. Has that well already been drilled?
Yes, and approved by the Board of Health. As a
Okay.
potable water source.
Can you just remind me what's the minimum setback from the well to any septic system?
100 foot per Title V, the state environmental code.
Okay, last quick question. There's about a 15-foot high hill between our house and the proposed house covered by vegetation. Is there a plan to remove that hill?
Currently, no.
But that doesn't mean that it could be removed.
So part of the, yeah, I was just gonna say, part of the notice of intent process when they apply for, well, the notice of intent that they have, they'll have to come back in front of the commission and review design plans and vet those through the commission. So I think there'll be more conversations on this application going forward, if that helps.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Yeah. Okay. I think if that's it, then we would want to go ahead and continue this. Question being, do you want to continue it to our next meeting on June 30th, which is in person, or further out? And in the meantime, you'll also want to do some paperwork with Judy on if you decide you want to apply to close out the existing order.
Melissa, pardon
Yes.
me, Melissa, is that question directed to us? If we want to,
Yes, sorry.
we would like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were talking. All right. Yes, we would like to continue to June 30th if possible. And we would have every intention of applying for the COC and the new order of conditions.
Okay.
Could I ask a question? Is it too late?
Not too late.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Stuart Cowart. I'm also an abutter, but there's actually a road or driveway between my house and the way this is coming in. And since this is a subdivision approval and not a lot approval, is there going to be some requirement that the road be like a landing strip that you could land two, major jets on, or can there be a narrower drive that kind of fits with the character of the area that would go up through this? That's an awfully long driveway, and I would just hate to see just a huge tarmac going up the hill. I know Lynn doesn't want to see that either, so, but what is the requirement? Because it is a subdivision, and my understanding was subdivisions aren't supposed to go to dead ends, number one. And number two, they typically mean that there's a wider roadway in and a wider offset off the roadway than a driveway. So what are the ramifications of this being classified as a subdivision versus a lot with a driveway?
Joe, you want to handle that, Joe? Yeah.
I'd say this is a planning board can of worms. So
well, it's also conservation because it impacts how wide of an area you're going to be disturbing as you come up through there.
it does, yes, but I think
Thumbnail.
go ahead, Joe. You can go over what you
Joe,
already.
if you could help us out, that'd be great.
Sure. The roadways was created a traditional width. What the planning board did back in 2009 was waive the construction requirements down from the 22-foot wide to a 12-foot wide driveway. So what is proposed is a 12-foot wide driveway at the request of the applicant with the approval of the planning board members.
Perfect. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ted.
Anna, do you need an address for Mr. Cowart?
I'm at 34 North Mill Street.
I knew that, but thank you.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, definitely more discussion to come on this one, but hopefully you have a good idea of your approach plan.
Yep.
For paperwork going forward. Okay, so can I get a motion to continue this out to June 30th?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ed is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I am also an aye.
Thank you.
So we'll see you on the 30th and we will be in person.
Okay, great.
Town
Thanks,
hall.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a
And
good
you
night.
forgot that Anna knows every resident's address, name, and firstborn.
All right.
But yes, thank you, Ted. That was helpful reminder.
Next up, we have continued hearings, Town of Hopkinton Department of Public Works. I'm going to go ahead and recuse myself from this hearing and turn it over to Ted.
Thanks very much. I'm hoping that we can close this hearing tonight, but we'll see what Joe has to say. I think where we stand is Ty and Bond gave responses to Joe's second set of comments. We've been given those. Joe, did you get a chance to look at that second set of responses?
I have. I unfortunately wasn't able to get our response to the commission until this afternoon. But I think substantially the issues have been addressed. I guess I could go through and just mention a few items that the commission may want to consider.
I think that might be a good idea. When I went through, Joe, I identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 16 that might still want some discussion. But if you see others, I identified 2, 3, 5, 9, 11, and 15. And some of those might be a very, very quick discussion, but maybe you have 1 or 2 other ones you'd like to talk about.
Okay,
Or
was
maybe
it
you
2
have
or
5 or
more?
6 other ones. I don't know.
Okay. So for comment 1, regarding the initial evaluation to identify of work, how to identify work in various jurisdictional areas. I think the applicant's previous response was appropriate, but that one I had just noted the Conservation Commission needed to discuss to come to any final conclusion on what is being proposed there. The DPW is stating that they would rely on the described communication to confirm whether or not work is occurring in an isolated land subject to flooding. That would be communication with the Conservation Commission and any input or response from the commission. Comment 2, you had mentioned we had requested some revisions to a table. Section 2.6 of the notice of intent was revised to add those revisions. And that will be one change there was that work or activity proposed to take place within or within the buffer zone to an outstanding resource water or an ACEC would require submitting an individual application to the commission. And we thought that that was an appropriate response with what we had requested.
So you're good with that wording?
But good with that wording, yes.
Great.
Comment number 3. We recommend that the applicant confirm that all category 1 through 4 activities will not generate additional stormwater runoff, increase impervious area, or create a new point source discharge. If that is the case, then we would agree that the proposed activities in categories 1 through 4 are generally not subject to the DEP stormwater standards. There was a question as to if some activities took place that could possibly trigger some stormwater standard requirements, then that would be required under categories 1 through 4. And the response was essentially that generally the activities in those categories do not involve grade changes. But I think an additional confirmation that none of the activities in categories 1 through 4 would either generate additional stormwater runoff, increase impervious area, or create a new point source discharge would put that one to bed and be appropriate to include those activities in categories 1 through 4.
So let me stop you. Do we have a representative from Ty and Bond on board?
Yes, Maria Johnson-Berg from Ty and Bond.
Hi, Maria. Do you have a response to Joe? Does that sound okay to you?
Our response and assessment from looking at the activities in those tables is that those activities should not be subject to the stormwater standards. They are not going to change grades or increase stormwater runoff. They are not going to increase impervious areas, and they are not going to create new point sources.
Joe, I saw a nod of affirmation.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I think it's appropriate to have those in categories 1 through 4.
Good.
Not requiring.
Good in my notes.
Comment number 7, just a minor typographical. There was a misquoted citation that was corrected. As I was looking at that correction, I did notice that there's a typographical error in table 2.2 footnotes 8 through 12, where instead of referencing CMR 10.022, it references CMR 10.0220. Just there's an extra 0 added in there. Just wanted to point that out. I don't know if that's something that the commission feels needs correcting, but it would clean up the reference to those citations.
If I may?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
We updated this typographical error and sent it to Judy, and Judy has responded to me that she's received it. So
great. That goes away. Okay. Comment number 11. Let's see. With respect to the legal notifications, and we just our comment on that was a Conservation Commission to discuss if they're really comfortable with what's being proposed for the legal notifications. We had suggested that maybe the application do a legal ad and also publish something at the town hall. And I think the response was that the legal ads are expensive, but they would be open to posting something at the town hall. So if the commission is okay with that, that's for you to discuss. And I think the last one is number 15, which was with respect to DEP file number, and the DEP file number has been issued. The comments there proposed are with respect to not having any substantial impact on existing embankments or loss of flood storage or significantly changing existing grades. It was primarily with respect to land subject to the coast, so or with bordering land subject to flooding. And wording has been added to table 2.3 to clarify that this only is with respect to de minimis loss of flood storage. And there was also table 2.3 was also revised to separate repair versus replacement of public infrastructure in response to one of the DEP comments. And I thought both of those were appropriate and adequate. And I don't really have any other comments on that. If the commission has any further questions or needs a little further explanation, please let me know. I know it was a little bit rough. I had just finished that, so haven't had time to go through that to prepare for the presentation.
Thanks, Joe. Let me just point out the one or two that I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with that you didn't hit on. When we go to 9, were you happy with the revised table 3.1 in attachment F?
Yes.
So that's good?
That's good, yep.
Okay. Good. And then, number 5, maybe we don't need your comment, but there is a note for the Conservation Commission to discuss whether we're comfortable with letting Anna or the commission know if we run up against any work that's going to be within 125 feet of a vernal pool. So maybe there's no new information there, so maybe there's nothing for you there, Joe, but that's for us, maybe. So thank you, Joe. So to the commission, I think what we have left is, are we comfortable with where things landed on number 1 regarding communications, number 5 regarding communications, and number 11 regarding communications about work to be done? Maybe we'll count back down. Number 11 was the question of legal notices and a notice at town hall, that DPW was worried about the cost of mailings and legal notices, but they'd be willing to do public postings at town hall. I'm understanding that bullet point correctly, I think. Yes, Judy? Yep. So to the commission members, does anybody have concern about what DPW is proposing as kind of a compromise solution that also saves the town money? Seeing nothing, I'm going to go ahead. I also don't have any worry about that. And I'm going to write good with my pen that's running out of ink. Point number 5 is the vernal pool question. I myself am again comfortable with DPW letting Anna, Judy know if we are coming close to a vernal pool, and Judy and Anna can determine whether it's something that should come up in front of the commission if it's a little sketchier. That to me feels fine. Are there any commission members who feel differently? Ed's screen is just a trip. Seeing and hearing no comment, I feel good about 5, and I'm going to write that note. Good. Point number 1 then is the last one, and in truth, I did not print up a copy for that part. When I looked through it the first time, I didn't see much there. Judy, could you show us number 1 just so that I can remember, the commission can remember what it is, what communications we're talking about for that one? And maybe, hopefully, Judy, you can give a quick summary of what's going on there so we don't have to sit in silence.
Sorry, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me, Ted. Maria, maybe
I can give you a summary if you'd like.
Maria, thank you very much. It was just one that I didn't prep for, but Joe mentioned that it might be something for us to discuss. And since I didn't prep, I didn't want to sit here in silence, reminding myself what number 1 was. So thank you, Maria.
Absolutely. So the comment number 1 was asking about clarification about how we would determine if we were doing work within or near isolated land subject to flooding, because bordering land subject to flooding we can go to a FEMA map and we can say, oh, there's probably something here because we have a map. Isolated land subject to flooding is not as easy to determine from a desktop point of view. So it's a little more complicated to decide if it exists at a site. And our response is that we were planning to rely on the kind of mini review and back and forth with Judy and Anna when we submit something to let us know if they think something else is there that we've missed. And when we brought this up a couple meetings ago, the response was generally, were Judy and Anna comfortable with that, since it was essentially putting work on them? To go along with this, we did extend the amount of time that they have. They have 4 days to look at things instead of 48 hours. So they have more time to look at these now, and hopefully that alleviates some of the original concern around it.
So in that respect, this is similar to number 5 regarding vernal pool. Yeah. Judy and Anna, are you comfortable with both number 1 and 5?
Yeah, through the chair, that's all right with us. We have a similar current relationship with Carrie, and we review similar asks all the time. So I think with 4 days, that gives us a bit more wiggle room. So yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. Okay. Then one more time, I'm writing good in my notes. So let me just, for the commission, as I think we're moving close to the end, does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns at this stage? I see none. I saw Jim shake his head no. Is there anybody from the public who has questions, comments, or concerns? I see none. There was one section where there was a recommended condition. Where was that? I think I circled it. Right there, add this as a condition. This was from number 11. Open to adding a public notice. Do we want wording, commission members, do we want wording that DPW will make a public notice at town hall for this work? I don't see any reason to not have wording. Putting that into the document doesn't seem that onerous.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to have that, Ted.
Okay. So other than that, unless anybody has anything else, I think that we're ready for a motion to approve the document as written, other than that one adjustment. And as part of that motion, with signatures from Anna/Judy. Does that feel right, Judy? Am I proposing that correctly?
Yep, sounds good to me.
So if I can get a motion in a second, we can move to a vote.
I'll make a motion.
I think that was with the motion.
Yes.
And we're looking for a second?
Okay. That's Ed.
Did somebody second it?
Yeah, Ed seconded it.
Ed did. Okay, great. We have a motion and a second. We're going to do a roll call vote. Melissa, I'm going to call your name and then you can say you recuse yourself just to make sure it's part of the official vote. Melissa Ricos.
Yeah, I recuse myself.
Ed Harrow.
Aye.
Jim Cirillo.
Aye.
Matt Moyen.
Aye.
Did Walter Garland join us? Did Peggy Shaw join us? I'm Ted Barker Hook. I am also an aye, and that is 4 votes in the positive, none in the negative. I think that closes the hearing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Maria.
you.
And I can give the steering wheel back to you, Melissa.
Thanks, Ted. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, let's move right along to Doucette 181 Hayden Road, notice of intent continuation. think we were almost there last time. Judy, can you give us a update on this, where we're at?
Sure. Through the chair, couple of minor plan revisions from the last plan set the commission reviewed. So now we have showing the 2 small saplings behind the barn to be removed right here. The plan did note that there are no replacement plantings proposed, so that is a discussion item for the commission. In between the initial submittal and now, the shed off of the barn was moved back a few feet. So now it shows a revised location of the shed. It did move towards the wetlands. So this is another item for the commission to discuss, whether you're all right with the location of the shed as is, or if you would like it to be moved back to its original location. Added a note on the width of the driveway, 8 feet, which was a comment that Joe had. A few other plan notes were added, including the only work on the septic excavation being the tank and not the leaching area here. So a few minor plan notes, but I think a few discussion items left. I'll pass it back to you, Melissa.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to make sure I have this right, and Mr. Doucette's online. He might be able to confirm the existing shed location, revised location. When I was looking back at pictures, it looked like the pictures that were provided at the last meeting had the shed in this location closer to the wetland.
It was moved months ago.
Okay.
So I think it's been there.
Okay.
So if there were any pictures, I don't know what pictures you were looking at, but theoretically it was moved in, I don't know, January maybe.
Okay, so it wasn't moved between the last meeting and this meeting. It was moved. And this is a new location from when we approved it right before the house was sold. Right, Judy? Because that as-built plan in our order there had it.
Yeah, sorry, that's correct. Yeah, so it's a different location between the plan sets, but yeah, it sounds like it was moved maybe before the notice was submitted, but after the original survey was done. Okay. For the notice of intent, not the COC.
All right. And as far as how much it was moved, from what I could tell, it looks like it was basically the back of the shed used to be even with the existing existing driveway line. Now it kind of gets clipped by that PIB between the 2 PIBs. My first instinct is it's not, we had the pictures that we had last time. It's consistent with what we looked at and we're kind of on board with at the last meeting. However, it's also a very classic example of encroachment and just creeping closer to the wetland area, which is what we are continually trying to fight against. And the reason why we have the PIBs. So can you just explain, Mr. Doucette, the reasoning for moving the shed, and does it really need to be where it is now, or can it be where we had originally, a year ago agreed that, this shed is in a good place?
So I don't know if you had a chance to look at my email, but the bottom line is, again, this was existing stone all the way back there. Lucas's note said it was moved 5 feet. I guarantee you it was not moved more than 2 feet, because all I was trying to do was get access to that back corner of the building where there are going to be garage doors. That's part of the building plan that I submitted. And there really isn't, the way that barn is constructed, it has balloon infrastructure out there, and there's only 8 feet between the end of the barn and that balloon infrastructure. The only access to that back third of the barn.
Judy, can you bring the plan back up? Sorry. Just, I'm sorry, Steve, I just
Oh, no problem.
reference
You know,
point.
again, so
That's better.
I don't know if I really can't point at the plan, but literally you can see that the back corner of that barn is the only access to the back third of that barn. So I could move that shed back 2 feet and I won't be able to drive a car in there or get through there cleanly. And that was the whole intent of this building permit, was to be able to get that in there. And originally, you know, I didn't catch this until the end, and I had Joe, I tried to fess up and say, move the shed a little bit like I did 2 feet, because the architect that did the drawings didn't even include the shed on them. So I literally moved it back 2 feet, and I assure you, it was on existing gravel. I moved it back 2 feet, and it's literally to allow me to get access into that back third of the barn, because it's the only access I can get to that back third of the barn.
Okay, so you're trying to get in between the shed and the existing barn.
Well, as in the back corner of that barn, you can't see my mouse. I mean, again, I could send you. I mean, I don't know if you have the building plans. I submitted them to Judy, but she could show you a picture of the barn where literally the only door in, and the building permit plans were including a garage door, 2 nice barn doors. I'm not going to do a garage door to access that back third of the whole barn. So, you know, I did move it back again. The new I thought, again, the PIBs were well behind where it was. And again, you know, after I saw it, yeah. So there's the existing barn. I guess that's coming from the back. If you see a side view, you can see where the doors want to go. If you scroll up, I think it may have a side door of the existing barn. No, maybe down. Yeah, go down, and I think it's the last page.
Steve, that's all the pages I got.
All right, so go up to the top, because I think there's a picture of the barn on the first page.
Yeah, this is all I got, the 3 pages.
And there's not, you only got 3 pages?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay. Man, you can see if you look at that barn by itself, the egress stairs are coming down. Those are 2 dormers that you're seeing there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only place to access that whole back third of the barn is on that farthest right back corner. And the shed, you know, again, was moved back just a little bit to allow me to get into that barn.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess to the commission, I guess the question is, you know, if we were okay with it at the last meeting, is it minimal enough change? The only thing that stuck out at me, the reason why I questioned it, is because when I looked back at the as-built plan from 2025, it's like May of 2025, it did not show gravel where the barn is right now. If you flip back to that plan, the gravel is even with the existing concrete line. So I think at some point in time between May 2025 and, you know, a couple months ago, there was gravel added.
There was no gravel added. It was there because it always extended beyond the shed where it stood.
Yeah, this is the as-built plan from May 2025.
And what's CS?
Yeah.
What is CS in the back of that shed?
Crushed stone, yeah. So if this as-built was correct, then at some point between May 2025 and the last couple months, there was additional crushed stone put in that area. So
I don't know what to say except for that, you know, again, I moved that barn back 2 feet and it's right up against the crushed stone. There's none beyond it.
Okay. All right. My thought is, so we have two, so that's one thing. And then we have the two trees that were taken down. And is there room to plant those 2 trees, or bushes or shrubs or something behind where the revised location of the shed is to establish,
Yeah,
I
thought we talked about these at the last meeting, and we agreed they're 2 plants. They're literally right in front of the door, which is the back entrance to that barn. And I thought they were disposable. There was never any discussion of replacing them. If you'd like to replace them, I guess I'm happy to accommodate. But again, I thought we had resolved that issue at our last meeting.
We did, but now I'm seeing a different issue here with all, the shed being closer to the wetland than it was when we previously approved a plan in 2025. So I'm just seeing, some encroachment. So my recommendation to commission members, I'm open to other thoughts, is to plant a couple bushes behind the crushed gravel area of the revised existing shed location. It can stay where it is, but if we can put some vegetation in there so that we don't get any more creep, then that would make me feel comfortable and ready to move on.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ted.
I'm with you, but and maybe I'm misremembering this application versus others. I thought there was also a discussion that some of the land over there is really, really wet. And I wonder if bushes can be put there or if that area is too wet. But maybe I'm mixing it up with another application.
If you want my opinion, there's very little water, if any, back there at all. So I think right behind the shed, it actually comes up. If a couple bushes need to be put in there, you tell me what you need to put in there.
Okay, so then maybe I'm mixing it up with a different application and a little walkway.
Yeah, no, literally. I mean, that's been dry as a bone since January.
That feels good to me then, Melissa. I agree with the scooching of the shed, asking for the trees to go back, and right in that spot feels very appropriate to me.
And
right behind the shed, and we're talking just a couple of native bushes.
Right. Yeah, you can run them by Judy.
Okay.
The bushes, the species you want to get, and make sure that they're appropriate. But yes, right behind the shed. Anyone else have any thoughts or requests on this?
To the chair.
Yes.
Can you clarify, are you asking for the shed to also be moved to it?
No.
Okay, so just the plantings, got it?
Right, yeah. And the plantings more so in my mind for allowing the shed to be where it is and establishing that
fixed.
yeah, so we don't get
I hear you.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, anyone from the audience?
Through the chair.
Yes, Anna.
How many shrubs are we talking?
I had my planting regulations in place. I think so they come in buckets, right? Like I'd say at least 2. Decent size. I don't know, what's a decent size? Which size do shrubs come in, Joe?
Yeah, usually a 1 gallon bucket, a 1 gallon container. It's about the size you want to put in, and those are usually, about 2 feet tall.
So maybe, and the width of the shed, Mr. Doucette, what would you say that is? Or the length?
I don't know. It's on the plan. The width is probably 8 feet, maybe 10. I'm not sure. Let's see if we did a dimension. Okay. It's not dimensioned out, so.
You typically plant those, Joe, like 4 feet apart. Joe Orzel?
Yeah. You could put them in a little bit tighter, but depending on what you're planting, that'd be about an appropriate spacing.
Okay.
You could probably fit.
Maybe let's do 4 back there.
Or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Judy. Okay. I think I'm all set, so I'll ask for a motion unless anybody has anything else they want to cover.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I did get comments back from Joe this afternoon, so I don't know if he had anything additional he wanted to mention.
Do you have anything else, Joe?
A couple of quick items. We had just noted in one of our comments that there were some invasive species present in the proposed landing area. The applicant added a note on the plans stating that the client to develop a management plan for invasive species or invasive vegetation. Just noted that the Conservation Commission might want to discuss whether they would like that provided before closing on a hearing. I think the trees that were being cut, and it's already been discussed. The applicant, as you're aware, did submit architectural plans for the carport. I did not see on the plans, or the site plans or the architectural plans, how the roof runoff is going to be addressed. I know that was a question that came up, I think, at the last hearing. There was another plan note regarding a comment on the proposed sewer trench that was not necessarily in its final location. The plan note stated the sewer trench dimensions, installation, and inspection will follow Town of Hopkinton rules and regulations. So that's something for the commission be aware of and discuss if you had any issues with that. We had also requested a detail of the pavers that were being proposed for the driveway extension and the appropriate subsurface preparation. And a detail of the pavers was provided. However, there's no detail on the appropriate subsurface preparation for those pavers. You want to have the proper subsurface of the pavers function correctly and allow infiltration of the water as they're designed. I think the manufacturer does have recommendations and a detail that show that preparation, and I think we would recommend that that be included on a plan. And I think that pretty much covers my comments.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Doucette, in the last hearing, we talked a little bit about the roof runoff and that it was gonna just drip off the sides. Is that correct? Is that still the plan?
Yeah, I think, again, it's going to be a gable roof front to back. So the front half of the building, and it's 30 feet total. So 15 feet will go back towards the driveway and out into the yard in the front. And the other 15 feet will go back towards what is the low-lying area that feeds back into the wetlands. And we talked about it being clean water. And if I put a gutter there, I may put a gutter there, and I do a runoff down and just run it back into my yard and let it flow naturally back there. That'd probably be the most likely scenario, because I don't really need access to walk out of the back of the carport, so I probably do not need a gutter there. If I put a gutter on the front, I might actually just flow the water down towards the driveway.
Yep. Okay. I think my suggestion, Judy, would be to include a condition that the roof runoff discharge to pervious area. Yep, that should address it.
Okay. What does that mean, though, may I ask?
Pervious meaning like the grass area as opposed to.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And I have 15 feet of grass or 20 feet of grass in the front, and probably 30 feet of grass in the back.
Yep. So grass, garden, whatever. So it's
right.
Not hitting the pavement. I think the utilities per the town requirements, I'm okay with that. The sewer. And then if we could put a condition for the pavers to be installed per the manufacturer's recommendations. I think since they're under the carport cover anyway, they're that water's going to get.
Yeah, most of them will be, and again, I assure you, I've had my landscape architect in here, and I'm taking what was a dump and trying to make it a pretty home in Hopkinton. I'm not going to cut corners there, so it'll be installed per manufacturer's instructions or better.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Joe. Those are some good conditions. Appreciate that. All right, I think that covers anything. If anyone wants to either make a motion or provide additional comment, I'm open to that.
Melissa, I'm happy to make a motion to approve the notice of intent with the conditions just discussed and to approve signatures from Judy and or Anna.
Great. Can I get a second?
This is Ed. I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. All right. So you are all set.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys have a good evening. Hopefully you get out of here at a decent hour.
You too.
Is that so, Judy? I guess I will just get a letter of approval with conditions.
Yep, within 21 days, I'll have your permit to you with instructions on
So
what
does
to do.
that hold up? So I can't start building or doing anything until I get that.
Correct. Yes, there are pre-construction conditions you'll have to follow. But yeah, once we issue, I'll follow up with you. We don't have to spend time on this now, but yeah, I'll follow up.
Okay, and there's no way to accelerate that.
I will do my best.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. We'll see you later.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Next up, we have Wall Street Development, 12 North Mill Street.
Through the chair.
Yes, Judy.
We got a note from the applicant that they will be requesting a continuation to June 30th for this hearing.
Okay. Can I get a motion then to continue this out to June 30th?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I am also an aye. Excellent. Okay. Jumping down to work session items. 9 Montana Road, I believe is up next. Project change requests. Judy, you want to give the rundown on this one?
Sure. Through the chair. I believe we also have the applicant on the line, but just an overview. The commission issued an order of conditions back in 2022 for construction of a single-family house at 9 Montana. The approved location of the house is in blue. The applicant is now requesting a project change approval to shift the footprint of the house location to this area in red. So you've got wetlands here, so shifting away from the wetlands. They would also like to add an 8x12 deck off the back and a covered porch on the side here. I would note that adding a deck without a cover outside of the 50-foot buffer, that's considered an exempt activity. So I think the commission would really maybe more want to focus on the addition of the covered porch because that would be technically added impervious area. Back to you, Melissa.
Okay. Did the homeowner have anything that they wanted to add to Judy's description there?
No, I think she covered the actual proposed request, and it's just based on the customer requests for a potential marketing of the project. So we're hoping that the concession of pushing the entire house forward further away from the buffer zone or further away in the buffer zone would offset some of the additional impervious covered by the porch roof. So we're at least attempting to make things better at the same time we're asking for something in addition.
Yep. No, I appreciate that coming in with a compromise. It's great, and I going back, I remember this application and appreciate the buffer strip that was put in at the back of the property to protect the runoff, protect the wetland from the runoff. So I have no problem accepting this as a project change. It looks okay to me, but I'm going to open it up to the commission to see if anyone has any alternative views or questions.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ted.
I also feel pretty good about this. I have a question for clarification. We don't seem to have that tool where I can actually draw that we played with a couple months ago.
Sorry, I turned it off because someone was misusing it. I can turn it back on.
Oh, no, it's okay. Well, I think I can guide us there. If I'm looking at the older plan, the purpley blue one, it looks like there's a box that was part of that plan right by where it says ECB, right below 14. Yeah. What was that? And
that's a patio, a pervious patio.
And so that's also been removed.
No, the intent is to keep the patio there. The red is actually just a building structure. So that patio place, we would like to keep that, but that was designed as a pervious patio.
Okay. All right. I still feel okay about things. That would have made me feel even more okay, but I'm feeling fine.
Okay. Anyone else or anyone from the public? Okay. That being said, can I get a motion to approve this project change request? With signatures by Judy or Anna. Okay. Thanks, Ed.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I am also an aye. You're all set, Mr. Kelly. Thank you.
Appreciate your time, folks.
Yep. Have a good night. Okay, next up we have the Trails at Legacy Farms request for additional units. And see, we have Mr. Bemis online. We haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, good evening.
Welcome back.
Welcome. It's good not to have to be seen
Yes,
for something other than this.
That was a compliment. Thank you.
So good evening, Peter Bemis here on behalf of the Trails. So to date, you've released 21 units. Those were mostly units that were on the right side of the roadway at Waterville Lane. Now I'm coming to you to request the first 10 on the left. Those are shown in green on that exhibit. We will still have 18 units to come back to you regarding in the future. But these units should probably carry us through the end of the year anyways. The sales have been a little bit slower there, but hopefully things will improve. Seems like there's a little bit of stagnation going on across the economy anyways. But we did put our last unit, which is 42, which is the last one in blue on the left, lower left there, or upper left in the picture. So we are out of units to proceed with. So I would ask that if you could grant this. We've been doing them kind of in blocks of 10. This area is all areas that we have either stone treatments or we have stump grindings covering most of the surfaces out here. So if it's not, there's no open ground for the most part. There's always some sort of cover that's around these areas. So we'll continue to develop in the same fashion we've been doing. And we have a detention basin that is being holding water, so we don't release any water from the development during construction, which has proved to be very effective. The only time we had a problem with it was in the beginning when they had left a valve open. So been a good, phase 4 has been a good program for us. So
yeah, great.
Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Say whatever you're doing, it's working, so that's good. And
thank you.
I hear you've been good with getting all the SWIPs in, which is appreciated as well. Judy, do you have anything to add? Is there anything on Ashland's end? I know they review these as well.
Yep, so Ashland Concom will have to approve an identical request for the same exact lot numbers, since these aren't at the developer's discretion. They are set to meet after you all, so I will just confirm with their agent that they've approved the same request before we give the green light to the building department. But yeah, no red flags from my perspective, and no recent violations.
Okay, great.
We're on there Monday night, just so you're aware. The timing of your meeting and their meeting, we thought we'd be on for the previous one with them, but they had advertising. They couldn't make it, so we had to do the one after.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or comments, or would anyone like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the release of these 10?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, and I know that motion was made with signatures by Judy and Anna, so we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye.
Great. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Yep, thank you. Okay, next up, informal discussion, Davis 1 Huckleberry Road vegetation clearing. I guess I'll have you open this up, Judy.
Sure, through the chair. Pull up my pictures. Everybody was cutting trees a couple weeks ago. So we responded to another complaint regarding tree clearing in potential conservation jurisdiction on May 27th. I went out there, observed recently completed tree clearing in potential buffer zone 2 wetland on the property at 1 Huckleberry Road, and potential buffer zone from wetlands documented across the street, across on Fruit Street. So I did issue a cease and desist for unpermitted vegetation removal that day, but I did grant administrative approval for 2 additional trees that were deemed hazardous on site with the homeowner. There are, like I said, mapped wetlands across Fruit Street, and per notes from Kim, the previous conservation administrator, she did observe evidence of a potential wetland on this property. We just don't have mapping showing the extent of that. The homeowner has been very cooperative and I believe is on the call with us today, so I'm happy to answer any questions. But yeah, the commission to discuss nature of the violation and any next steps you would like to see.
Okay. All right. I'll open it up to the homeowner if you want to introduce yourself. All right, is there someone either representing the homeowner or the homeowner on the line? We can't hear you if you are here.
I see him in the meeting, but wondering if he maybe stepped away.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you now, yes.
I'm sorry. Hey, good evening, everyone. I think I was on mute. Apologies for that.
It's okay.
I'm Rinson. I live in 1 Huckleberry Road.
Okay, welcome.
So, yeah, a quick note. We moved here 3 years back, and based on the public documentation, what is available, we don't see any wetland marking in this property. Appreciate if you can provide anything so that we can use that for the further reference. We cleaned a couple of trees from here so that I can put some veggie garden, chicken coop, and then a couple of fruit trees. My kids love all those, so that's the purpose of clearing it. And happy to, cooperate with you with whatever that you recommend me to do.
Okay. So what I would recommend, I think, in order to be able to establish what areas within our jurisdiction and what area you can clear and use or need to, come in front of us to talk about would be to get a wetland delineation completed. And this is strongly based on the fact that Kim has notes in the file that she was on the property and had identified wetlands in the area, and we do have them across the street, and there's likely connections there. So I think there's a very strong likelihood, even though they're not necessarily mapped on, Mass GIS, they don't always pick up on the local wetland areas, but those are still fall under the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. So similar to other applicants or homeowners who have found themselves in these situations, typically that's what we're looking for. And I'll open it up to the commission members for any other questions, comments, but procedurally, we would either ask you to go ahead and provide a delineation and identify trees that were cut down so we can have a better discussion about this, and or we would issue a violation letter requiring that you take those steps.
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, right, I was based on the documentation I have, I'm not aware there is no marking on the wetland. Mm-hmm. So I really don't know, right, which document to follow. So I hope you will consider that. And the wetland delineation. Sorry.
Yeah, no, there's no document that we can give you that tells you where the wetlands are. It's something that a professional wetland scientist needs to go out and identify them on the property and put a plan together.
Yeah, even for putting the fruit trees or chicken coop, we need that, or is it?
If it's within 100 feet of the wetland, then you would need to, depending on what you're doing, you could submit a request for determination to the commission. We could have a discussion about it, but it's really hard to have any discussion when we don't have that line established of where the wetland is.
Okay.
So that's the first step, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know what's the process for me to understand how to determine that, who to approach and how to do that?
Yeah, Judy is very helpful with that. She can point you in the right direction.
Okay.
For folks that you can contact or how you would go about doing that. She could probably show you some example plans too of what we'd be looking for, what that looks like on a plan.
Okay. And one more request. I am planning to put a 6-foot fencing on that side. If I want to know if that is okay.
Yeah, that's another thing that typically, depending on where that wetland line is, when it's in the buffer, typically the commission is open to that. Judy, sometimes I think those always come in front of the commission, the request for the fencing. Correct. It's not an administrative action.
It can be if it's more than 50 feet away. We've done staff exemptions for that and will require gaps for like wildlife movement. But if it's closer than 50 feet, then yes, it would require a commission review.
Okay. So I think establishing that wetland line is really going to be important for you for answering these questions.
Okay.
Depending on where you are in relation to that line, you might be able to just go ahead and do it with when Judy takes a look and says, yep, that's outside, or you need to come in front of us, but we really can't say one way or another unless we know where the line is.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Melissa.
Sorry, Ted, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ted.
I just wanted to say, just to be perfectly clear, Rinson, there should be no more work in that area until we can have our next discussion. So don't start to put up the chicken coop. Don't start to put in post holes for the fence. Leave everything alone until we can have our next meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there is nothing
Okay.
happening there.
I just wanted to make sure that that was very clear.
Yeah, no, thank you for making that very clear. Yeah.
I guess the other question would be, Judy, if we put it together an enforcement order at this point, probably just to get a delineation in the works, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I would suggest that.
Okay. Can I get a motion to that effect to have the applicant or have the homeowner provide us with a delineation so that we can have further conversations about the violations? Potential
Through the
violations?
chair.
Yes, Anna?
Do you want to include a stump survey with that delineation?
Yeah, let's, similar to the way we worded the other one, stump survey within within our jurisdiction, within the resource area and buffer. 1.5 inches and greater.
And that enforcement order would require signatures from Anna/Judy.
Yes.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Thanks, Ted. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I am also an aye. All right. So Judy will be in touch.
Okay. I
Vincent,
appreciate
thank
that.
you. Yep.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. All right, next up, Charleswood School dewatering update. Judy, do you have a brief update on this?
Sure, through the chair. So just a quick update on where things stand with the Charleswood geothermal dewatering question the commission's been hearing about. So after the last discussion we had with the school building committee and town council, it was determined that the builders had to direct a portion of the water from the geothermal well drilling to a different parcel, not owned by Concom. So this has been done. They've been directing at least more than 50% off to the side. We've confirmed the volume has gone down since they've started doing that. They established a new erosion control boundary at the property line. So that's done. They have left the temporary dewatering setup with the chain link fence and erosion controls in place on the Concom property until they have a restoration plan prepared and reviewed by Lucas. So I did recently give feedback on what that plan should include. So that's anticipated that we'll have something to review soon. And I've also heard that the engineers have submitted new plans for the permanent overflow area that was originally shown on the Concom property. They've submitted new plans to the planning board to change that location off the Concom property. So they're determining what level of permitting needs to be done through planning board right now. So things are moving on that. As of today, they are still drilling the geothermal wells. So it's gone on several weeks longer than originally was estimated. We go out weekly to check the groundwater levels around the roots of the larger trees on the Concom parcel that are close to that dewatering area. And it's been pretty high consistently. So I think this is something that we'll be recommending for the restoration plan, that they look at the long-term health of this area and account for any potential die-off of the trees here. So I'll continue to provide updates if folks want to reach out as well. I'm happy to give an update. But yeah, things are moving along. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Judy. Does anyone have any questions? Sounds like progress is being made.
This is Ed. I don't have any questions, and I appreciate Judy and Anna following up on this. I want to vent, and I'll leave it at that.
All right.
I'm not pleased.
Seems like this could be a good science project for some new fourth grade in that building. Watch these trees for us for the next few years and give some monthly updates on take pictures, tree health.
Great idea.
All right. Moving on. That was our last work session. Oh, I'm gonna jump back up. We didn't do the draft minutes for review. We have minutes from February 24th, 2026. Does anyone have any comments or would like to make a motion to approve those? Listing February 24th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve February 24th, 2026 minutes.
All right, can I get a second?
This is it. I'll second.
All right, all in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. And how about the March 24th, 2026? Any comments or a motion?
Hearing no comments, I'll make a motion to approve the March 24th, 2026 minutes.
All right, all in favor, Jim?
Oh, we need a second.
Oh,
You didn't get a second. I'll make that second.
thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
And
I'll vote aye.
all right,
I'll vote aye.
thank you. Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Matt?
I didn't see those minutes in the folder, so I apologize on this one.
It's okay. You can abstain.
I'll abstain because I'm not sure if I was at that meeting.
Okay. I will give it an aye. So those are all set. Right, I don't have anything for the conservation minute tonight, and being that it's 9:15, gonna wrap it up.
Wow.
If anyone has any thoughts they just really need to share.
I have a very quick thing, I promise.
Sure.
I did get comments back from Chris and Joe on the regs revisions, so I will be sending those out tomorrow. And we will plan on advertising for June 30th for a discussion on them. So if folks could take a look at all the comments that they made in the margins and the revisions itself, and prepare any feedback you might have. We'll plan to talk about them on the 30th. And then I think we'll just maybe look at the checklists then too, if folks have time to look at proposed changes to the checklists. So just keep an eye out for an email from me about those.
Great. Thanks, Judy.
Melissa?
Yes.
I will be unable to attend that meeting unless something dramatic happens. I will be on a road trip, but I will certainly, I've got a couple days of school, but I am done with schoolwork now. So I will find some time to look at those regs and Joe's comments and get them to you, Melissa, in advance of that meeting.
Okay. Appreciate that, Ted. Thank you. And everybody remember next meeting, June 30th is in person and it's at Town Hall, not the Senior Center. So I'm sure Judy will send us a reminder.
We're going to be at the big kids table.
We're at the big kids table. Yeah.
Hey, I have a confession. I got a confession.
Okay.
I couldn't help but seeing Ed's screen, wanted to put some Jimi Hendrix on in the background, but I didn't. For those of you old enough to know who Jimi Hendrix was.
Big gear and safe company here.
Yeah, you're good. It's funny.
All right. You looking for a motion to adjourn?
I am.
Because I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right. All in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Ted?
That is an aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. All right. Thank you.
Well, everybody, taking a couple weeks in person. That's awesome.
That's right.
I'll be the one wearing the red robes.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.